Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Fresh Out, the podcast, number one podcast for all of your needs and desires. I am the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
It's me, Casualty CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the Podcast and Fresh Out the Box. I'm a tabletop titan. I'm the podcast Poppy, and I'm happy to be here.
And I am the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen. Welcome to episode 126 of Fresh Out the Podcast, where we're going to be talking about the Xbox Game Showcase. Last week we did predictions. Now we've seen the show, or we've at least reviewed what was on the show. But the show has happened. And Jahan, I will say at the beginning of the show when you were doing your intro, it was just a long enough pause for me to go, what's he going to say? What's he gonna say?
It's always up in the air.
It is.
I'll show you something that's always up in the air. You know what I mean?
Oh!
That's how we're starting, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and set the pace.
Let's let me ask y'all how you want to approach this as we get into the Xbox Game Showcase. Do you want to do like a little bit of a review of the show first, or do you want me to start with our predictions and how wrong or right we were?
Let's do that. That seems like fun.
Yeah.
Because I know that sometimes we do this podcast and we talk a lot and we spew things out, and then if you're like me, you just immediately you forget everything that you just said when you walk away from the microphone. So do you even remember the predictions that you all made?
I remember everything I've ever said.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's a wild statement, but I do believe that to be true. I think I remember them.
I remember enough of them to know that we nailed a lot of our predictions on this showcase.
We did.
We actually really didn't. Jahan, you were the most wrong of all of us.
Oh, hell
actually.
yeah.
I disagree with that, Jahan. I think you nailed it.
I definitely nailed
it. The interesting thing is that our layups, the most surefire bets, is where we were all wrong for the most part. Gary, your layup was that there would be something Forza related.
And you know
yeah.
what? My second layup would have been, I would have gotten with my second layup because I would have gone Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Ah, yeah.
And
That's a
those-
safe
it's-
bet.
it's one of those two. They're always going to do one. But you're right. Yeah, no Forza. No Forza layup for me.
Which, in a weird way, Forza, like, not even that missed at the show. Like, it's so strange because Forza's been a part of, I think, every Xbox game showcase I've ever witnessed. And it wasn't here this time. And it doesn't feel like there's a hole left by it. Like, there was so much stuff anyway. So, yeah, no Forza.
Yeah,
There's a lot.
really makes Forza seem more like a filler in hindsight because there was so much good stuff that they didn't have time for Forza filler content.
Yeah. Jahan, yours was general. You have to remind me of what your prediction was in depth, but you just said Activision Blizzard announcement of games, and I don't know if that meant, new games, old games. I predicted that Activision Blizzard's catalog would come to Game Pass, and there was nothing about that either. So we still don't know.
I was saying
when the
that
back catalog is coming out.
I was saying they were going to do something with those IPs finally, and that we were going to get some sort of announcements, and we did. So, not anything I really care about. Diablo 4 expansion DLC, World of Warcraft DLC, like, meh, but, I mean, I was technically right, so...
And it did start off. I'm not really including the Call of Duty showcase they did after the show, but it did open with the campaign trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which I actually thought looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, the game looks sick, and they said the only thing that I care about, and that's zombies. So, we'll
And it's also,
do it.
what, free on Game Pass? That's
Free
the
Game
thing?
Pass day one. Yep.
You got my attention. That's what you had to say for me.
Yep. Free
Yeah, like,
multiplayer zombies. I'm in.
I've played my share of Call of Duty in the past, but I don't buy every new entry that comes out. But, it might be the first time in a while that I've played some online shooters with Gary and Jahan and Lee and friends of the show that we play. Because, if Black Ops 6 is on Game Pass, I'm going to play it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Right?
I can't say that I'll play it every night or get good at it, but I'll at least play, hop on and play casually.
Well, here's the thing. We used to play every night, right? But now we're all adult men. So now we play 2 or 3 nights a week. Now it's a reasonable amount.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
become much more reasonable.
So Jahan, you were the most right of the layups. Mine was Activision Blizzard games coming to Game Pass. Didn't happen. But our bold predictions, Gary, your bold prediction was Fable 4 being present in some capacity.
Yo.
And
Not
we actually
only-
got a little bit more here than I expected.
Much more, because we got a release year, at least, and
Yo.
Fable is coming to Xbox Game Pass in 2025. That's huge. And we actually got to see gameplay and some story and stuff.
Say. This is one of those old, when you give me a release year, I'll believe it when I see it. It could be pushed to 2026. There's no
Could.
reason to think otherwise. All they gave us was a year. If they'd have said first quarter 2025, then I'd be like, oh, okay, we could be out by summer. But just saying 25, I don't know. I'm excited, though. We did get it. We did get something, more than nothing.
And the gameplay they showed looked really good. Like giant cities, lots of people, lots of activity. It looked really great. And
Looked
I
like,
really think,
It looked like a next-gen AAA title.
yeah, it did. It looks like, and especially in the third-person action-adventure space, which is just a genre that Xbox has always been severely lacking in from their first-party content. It looked great. I'm really excited for it, and even the story trailer that kind of went along with it, with the narration and some characters, it looked like it was going to be pretty fun. Some fun things going on there, and it'll still have its sense of humor, and I think that's really important. And Jahan, yours was a new AAA franchise, which I don't know if there were necessarily any new AAA franchises that we didn't already know about.
There was.
Which one are you pointing to?
Expedition 33 was new to me. That looks like a new AAA IP there.
Who is that from?
I don't know, but it looks like a turn-based, sort of, it might be Square Enix, but it looks like a turn-based RPG, with some Legend of the Dragoon style timed button pressing attacks and stuff like that. So that one looked cool. That's definitely a new IP. Also, I mean, not necessarily triple A's, but we have Mixtape. We have Atomfall, which I don't recall seeing Atomfall before. Those are also both new IPs. So we did get some new IPs. I'm at least partially right.
Yeah, I looked a little bit at Atomfall. I don't know about that one, man. It gives me vibes. What was that game that was a BioShock knockoff that came out that everybody hated, rightfully so? That Russian one?
Yeah.
Atomic Heart.
Atomic Heart.
That game gives me Atomic Heart vibes. We'll see.
We will see.
When
Yeah,
it comes
I
out.
agree with that assessment 100%. It did give me the same vibes, but, what are the odds? I don't know. I wasn't expecting them to do a shitty Duke Nukem in Russia during the Cold War with robots thing. And that game sucked. So hopefully Atomfall's better.
My bold prediction was Gears being there in some fashion, and it was. But thank goodness this prediction was pretty generic, because had I specified on it, I would have been very wrong. Because Gears of War 1, 2, and 3 are kind of considered like a trilogy, and then they'd always said that the next 3 games would be their own trilogy. So we had 4 and 5. So everybody thought this would be Gears of War 6.
And it is not.
Or Gears 6, because they actually shortened Gears 5 to just be Gears 5, not Gears of War 5. We thought we'd get Gears 6, and it's not. It is Gears of War E-Day. So it's a prequel to the original game, and it will focus on Marcus and Dom, who are the kind of beloved characters from the original trilogy. And the thing is, so Gears of War 4 and 5, if I may go on a little tangent here, are both very good games, and the stories in them are good, but fans kind of push back a little bit just because it was focusing on new characters, and they weren't as beloved as the older characters, and there's just a lot of hesitation of where the story was going. That being said, it left with a cliffhanger, so there's still story to be told there. Them going back to E-Day for a new game is surprising, but seems kind of like fan service. And they're claiming they're still going to do 6 and finish that story sometime in the future, but it'd be really far off at this point. And I'm kind of surprised they've, I don't want to say they've abandoned it since they've said they'll come back to it, but I mean, they may not. Who knows? I mean, if E-Day is successful, maybe they do E-Day 2 before they do 6. Who knows?
I definitely didn't see it coming. Yeah, E-Day, obviously reference to Emergence Day, when the locusts come to the surface for the first time. So it's kind of like an outbreak scenario, but it's like global warfare. Very interesting. Definitely a cool time period to play a video game in. Definitely a cool bit of lore there. And honestly, like, I wasn't that interested in Gear 6. I'm more interested in E-Day.
I agree.
It looks pretty cool.
As a guy who's not a Gears nut, and generally I don't love Gears, I'll play it, but this seems more exciting than a Gears 6, no doubt.
Yeah, completely agree. And I mean, maybe it's them trying, because, it's easier to come into a franchise at the beginning, and since they're doing the beginning, maybe it's their attempt to re-beloved the characters to a new generation, because
that's exactly it. You're exactly right. Is they've gone so long now, they've killed half the Avengers, and they need to go back to their Avengers team. They need to go back to their superheroes that people are here for, because those are the ones that sell merch, those are the ones that sell copies, those are the voice actors people want to hear. When you're connected to the characters and you kill off all the good characters, you get what you asked for.
Yeah, man.
But
I mean,
this is the right move.
Gears of War came out when I was in high school. Like, when we were in high school. Like, that's crazy, And so it makes sense that they would want to pull back. And I honestly think it was a good choice. And I feel the same way about a lot of what they did. I was really impressed with this showcase. It actually it did blow my mind a little bit. They did a good job, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more, obviously. But E-Day, I think, was an absolute win.
I agree. It looked impressive what they showed. And then our dream guesses or predictions, We were all wrong.
Of course.
Jahan, yours
Well,
was Elder
these
Scrolls
were supposed
6.
to be wrong. Yeah, I think if we
Yes.
got these right, then we did it wrong.
Jahan's was Elder Scrolls 6. Gary, yours was Helldivers 2 on Xbox, and mine was more PlayStation games on Xbox, which of course was never going to happen. So, yeah, those are all. Those were our predictions. Yeah, we did okay.
I think we did
Like
okay.
I said, I still think it's funny that our layup ones were kind of the most wrong.
Well,
or like
You
you know.
also had another prediction, though. You did predict Perfect Dark.
I don't know if I'd say it's even a prediction. That a game has been announced, but all signs pointed to there being some issues with development, some complications. But I mean, they showed a full-on long
that
trailer.
game looked beautiful.
Yeah, it looked
didn't- I was
amazing.
not expecting that.
Me neither.
As a guy who plays way too many first-person shooters, I think that every single one of them is the same. It's the same game. You put the thing on the guy and you pull the trigger. The only difference between the games are how you move, because at this point they all have a sniper rifle and a shotgun and an SMG. They're all the same game. The movement is what makes these games more fun and different. The movement in the new Perfect Dark looked so fun. It looked like Assassin's Creed, the first-person shooter, and I want it.
Well, it's like it had
Yeah.
like Mirror's Edge parkour with some Assassin's Creed elements, with like Deus Ex elements and Perfect Dark. It did look good, and again, like for a shooter like that, the world looked pretty alive. Like a lot of people, towns, sneaking.
And like John said earlier about having a AAA background and AAA graphics, that the Perfect Dark game for sure looked AAA. Like as soon as they walk out and they're walking past like the bus stops and terminals and stuff, everything is just immaculate from the ground up.
Dude, so for me, I want to talk about Perfect Dark for sure, because this is absolutely what what I've been talking about. They're using all these IPs they've acquired. They're making a AAA title it looks like a beautiful FPS. It's not a new IP, but it is a re-emerging IP from a long time ago. Might as well be new. And I think that this is the kind of thing that puts Xbox back on the board. I think Perfect Dark is the play, and I think they did a good job with it. It looks amazing.
I agree. I think Perfect Dark, I think this sells Game Pass. I think this is the kind of thing where you buy Game Pass, 100%.
Well, that's our predictions. Do you want to just go through a few more things in the show? I can kind of go through some things beat by beat. I'm not going to go through every single game because there were some smaller games and things, but I just want to touch on some of the big things. We already mentioned the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 campaign trailer, and then they did Doom: The Dark Ages, which to me was probably one of my favorite things I saw out of the
Dude.
show. I like the modern Doom games, and I really liked Doom Eternal, and Doom: The Dark Ages was it was super D&D, infused Doom. I was all about
Did
it.
not
It
see
looked
it.
great.
Did not see this one coming again. It had mad Army of Darkness energy. You know what I mean? Like with the buzzsaw shield and like, yeah. Doom is cool. I haven't really been that into it in a while. Not since they originally went to like the more modern Doom. I haven't played the past few. They've just been, they look the same. This one looks like something new. It looks fresh. I mean, the skull gun that shoots mulched up skull bits at people, like that's epic, like.
Oh man, when I noticed that the skulls were literally being grinded up and shot out, I was like, "That's incredible." I think I said that
Incredible.
out loud when I was watching it.
Dude, I mean, Dark Ages, once again, they're like, these games, they put out 100 of these games and they're like, hey, we're going to do this one right. We're going to do it new and it's going to be fresh. This is a fresh take on Doom and I'm here for it. I'm going to play it.
I agree. We got a trailer for State of Decay 3. That's cool. Those
So,
games that are not really my
I'm,
thing.
Thomas loved the first one. I think Jahan did too. And then the second one added co-op, but you were rubber banded to the person you were with, so you couldn't go far. You couldn't take cars. You really couldn't work separately on stuff. And the game just kind of fell flat, I think. So I'm curious what they do with this one. Do they double down on how good the single player can be, or do they fix some of the co-op elements? I'm interested in State of Decay 3. It's not like top 5 or top 10 or anything for me,
No.
but I will keep my eye on it, and I've got questions I need answered about the series. I'm certainly interested.
For sure. Huge fan of the first one, like you said. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I love State of Decay 1. It was a revolution in zombie games, man. That was the game back then. And then State of Decay 2, yeah, it fell a little flat. The co-op wasn't the best, but it was still fun. The map was cool. It had some good stuff going, but yeah, it was overall kind of meh. State of Decay 3, at least in the trailer, it does seem to focus on multiplayer a little bit. It does seem to be calling out, like, these, a party being kind of the dynamic. And so hopefully, yeah, they double down on the co-op, because if they can do the co-op right, State of Decay 3 is also going to be a huge get. But we'll see.
Which I don't even think we got a release window on this one, so no telling when it comes out.
No.
It probably would be 2026 at the earliest, I would assume. But speaking of games this year, one that surprised me, Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which this was formerly titled. It was originally titled Dragon Age Dreadwolf, and they've
I had
now
no
changed
idea.
the title.
I had no expectations. I'm a Dragon Age nut, bro. I live and die for Dragon Age. I will play this, period. I will buy this, period. It doesn't matter if it sucks or not. I'll come back and tell you guys that it sucked. I'm about Dragon Age. I'm here for it.
Yeah, they said that they changed from Dreadwolf to Veilguard because Dreadwolf is, I guess, the bad guy or something, and they wanted to focus on the heroes. So they brought it back to Veilguard. I guess it was some marketing decision. But yeah, the trailer looked cool. We didn't really see a lot of gameplay, but I imagine it's similar to Dragon Age. I don't know. I was kind of getting like Dark Legacy vibes. Like it was more of a run around action-y RPG style thing, kind of like Dark Alliance maybe. But that was just the vibes I got from the trailers. Like it wasn't. They didn't show any gameplay, so we'll see how it goes. It does look fun, and there's always room for good fantasy RPGs in the space. So we'll see.
Dragon Age Origins was pretty sluggish and sort of arena based in combat, and then whichever the bigger one was, not Dragon Age 2, but what was it, Redemption or Deception or whatever the hell it was called.
Dragon Age 3 was they really changed.
Huge.
Yeah.
The combat was big. It was really, really big. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a change in combat again. Dragon Age can change combat, but one of their big mechanics has always been storytelling up front. Story, story, story. And it looks like we're going to get that. So I'm excited for that, no matter how they choose to do their combat.
And is this also going to be a Game Pass release?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Why isn't... Yeah, Dragon Age is owned by BioWare.
Which
right?
is EA.
Oh.
And we do sometimes get EA games, but usually later. So we'll see.
Yeah, I assume it'll be a full release, and then it'll come to EA Play at some point months later, would be my guess. We got
I'm gonna
Fallout.
buy it with my human dollars.
If you buy it, I'll buy it.
Fallout 76, more stuff. That's fine. I don't really play that game, but I know
Yeah,
there's
same
a
for
lot of
Elder
fans.
Scrolls Golden Road, or Gold Road. Like, I don't, it was fun while it lasted, but I don't got time for that kind of stuff right now, man.
Yep, same. There was Starfield DLC. They showed Shattered Space, which actually I thought looked really cool.
Looks sick.
It's coming out later this year. They did have some Starfield content that was available that night yesterday, the night of, but it's more like, I was under the impression it was more like player created content and things like that, like some cool add-ons and some new stuff. But
what it looked like to me was there was I think item creation tool so that you could make custom cosmetics and furniture and stuff and share them on a online marketplace. I don't think it cost money I think it was just like a shared space, but it looked interesting. People were making like plushies and stuff. I don't know.
yep.
The Shattered Space DLC was cool enough looking for me to be like, hey, maybe I should pick it up again. and check it
I
out.
think I'll jump back into it when it comes out. They've had some patches and updates to the game to make it run better, and I think that by the time that comes out, I'll be ready to jump back in, and hopefully it'll suck me back in at least for a few more hours.
Just a quick aside, as far as jumping back into games, I literally reinstalled Cyberpunk 2077 last night, was playing today, and it is different and fun, even from when I played it in October.
Interesting.
They've been really going to town on that game. They're trying to give us what they promised, and I think that they've gotten close finally. So good for them.
Yeah, if I had never played it and just started playing it, I think I would be infatuated with it. But having played it already, it's clear that the game has gotten better.
Hell yeah.
John, you mentioned Expedition 33. I just was kind of having that trailer playing in the background on my computer, and I forgot how good that looked. Yeah, that was my type of game. It's kind of like a turn-based RPG, but like with amazing third-person looking gameplay. It's coming to Game Pass, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be
Actually,
picking
more
that
so
one
than
up.
I realized.
Speaking of IPs coming to Game Pass, they showed more of Flintlock. That's another Xbox property, that a new IP that's going to be showing up, and it is it looks kind of Devil May Cry combat-y style stuff with, a mixture of melee combat and some like flintlock pistols, as the name would suggest, mixed with like you have this fox companion that's a god that's trying to help you seek vengeance or something like that. Looks pretty cool. The graphics were solid, combat looked good, and free on Game Pass. So another one I'll be checking out for sure.
Initially, when I was making my predictions before settling on Gears, my initial a little too broad prediction was that one of these new IPs that they've shown off, whether it's South of Midnight or Perfect Dark, or what's the other one, the Clockwork one that I can't remember what it was called. One of those they would show new gameplay for. I don't even know if I really thought it would happen, but we did get South of Midnight gameplay, and this is the one kind of stop motion-esque, like New Orleans kind of bayou themed game that I thought had a really cool cinematic they showed last year. And we got gameplay for it and a 2025 release date, and I thought this looked great because it's right up my alley as being like a fun, action adventure third person game that had really cool art style, some neat looking combat and exploration, mechanics there. I thought I'm really excited about this one. I'm probably the most excited about this one of us because it's very much a Drew game.
Yeah, I mean, I am excited about it. I love the animation style. It's less my type of game, but it does look. I mean, it kind of seems like it might be open world. I'm not sure. There's definitely a lot of transversal options that they showed, and usually, when that's a thing, it means it's at least somewhat open world. And the combat looked really fun, and it was not what I was expecting. It was very action. Fighting hordes of enemies kind of thing, or like big monsters, which I thought were cool. The monster design was cool. And I'm just really curious to find out what the story is here, because it's a compelling trailer,
What they showed looked cool. Giant monsters, or giant animals, huge toads, gators, just stuff like that. It looked really cool. And this was the game, this was kind of the point in the showcase where I was like, man, I feel like, not to get too optimistic here, but as Xbox fans, like, we're finally kind of getting the fruits of our labors here, like of waiting and the studio acquisitions. It's like all of a sudden
It was a good year.
yeah, and in 2025 we're gonna get this new Doom game that looks awesome. We're gonna get Fable. We're gonna get South of Midnight. We're gonna get all these other things that have been listed as 2025, and then the next year we'll have Perfect Dark to look forward to, and some of these other things, and we're about to be in a great cycle of just having consistent games to look forward to on Xbox, on Game Pass. I don't care if they go multi-platform. This year we've still got Avowed, we've got Indiana Jones, we've got things coming this year. Call of Duty now, as part of the Xbox library.
Did you see Fragpunk So I know Drew was saying that south of midnight or whatever is more his speed, but Fragpunk is like right up our alley.
I did see
It
Fragpunk,
is
and it looked fun. You have, yeah, what is it? So it's like a champion shooter where you have these
5v5 champion shooter where you have cards.
cards.
And the
Yeah,
cards change. They change everything. They change the whole game. Like you can make people have big heads or chain reaction or flip the map upside down for everybody but you, and they're just like falling across the map. So it's a fresh take on first-person shooters. Again, like I said earlier, they're all the same game. The only thing that changes it is the movement. So when you have a game like this with 90 plus cards that do all sorts of insane and wacky things,
you looked it
I
up
think
and it
it's a
said
great
90. That's a lot.
It says 90, and that's already. They're at 90 plus already, so they're probably going to add more in the future. One of
See-
them was Death's Embrace,
Yeah.
where the person cracked a card and they shot somebody, and then Death showed up behind the person they shot, like a huge silhouette of Death with a
Yeah, the
scythe.
Grim Reaper. I saw that one. That was awesome.
Yeah. One of them, you just like make a jungle appear around you, tall grass, and you could just immediately hide anywhere in the map. So there's all sorts of wacky stuff.
I saw
going on,
one
and
where they Doctor Strange hallwayed people, and it
Yep.
got all twisty.
100%.
Super cool. Yeah, no,
Big
I
game.
mean, it's like
Looks neat, man.
it's a 5v5 essentially, where they are like, hey, you can hack, and the hacks like, because like that's what I got from the big head one. I remember Torok. That was a
Correct.
classic.
It reminds me of
classic
the old
hack.
cheat codes, right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly,
putting
cheat codes.
All the codes in the game, but everyone has access to them with limits. So yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be total bullshit, but that's kind of the point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Fragpunk. Yeah, it breaks all the rules. That makes sense. No, dude, I'm all in on this one too.
I think that
It
name
is
is
gonna be
terrible,
free to
though.
play.
I do not like the name Fragpunk. Just think it's a terrible name.
I think it's
Plus,
okay.
the game looks bad.
I feel
Just
like
the
names
name
are hard.
Fragpunk.
I
Oh,
don't hate it, but I do wish it had card in the name.
like Card Punk or something. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's got cards. It's a shooter game with cards in it. Like, how do you not reference the 90 cards you have in the game when the whole point of the game is using the cards to break the rules? It'd be like
52,
card breakers or something.
52 pickup or something. That'd be a good
I don't know,
name.
man. Either way, Fragpunk, it's on my radar. It's going to be free to play, so I'm going to make you play it.
I'm 100% gonna. Yeah, and that's not like there's still a couple more. Like Atomfall looked cool to me. Mecha Break looked cool. It was kind of like an Armored Core where you could turn into planes and shit. It was like a mech shooter game that looked like fun. It was probably one of the best Xbox showcases in a while.
There was a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake trailer that looked really solid. We
Did
saw
look
more
solid.
Sea of Thieves. You mentioned Flintlock. We talked about Perfect Dark. I figured you were excited for the Age of Mythology retold.
Age of
That
Mythology
seemed like
Show looks
something-
cool. Yeah, that's Age of Mythology came out a long time ago. In between, I think, Age of Empires 2 and 3, and it is a similar game to Age of Empires, but it's got mythical creatures and gods in it, and the combat's pretty crazy, and you can do like meteor strikes and stuff. Looks really fun. That's coming to PC.
There's
So-
really only about a few other things. I'm looking like Avowed comes out this year. That I think it looks cool. The one that I did want to just give a little bit more time to is Indiana Jones
Okay.
and the Lost Circle, I believe is what it's called, right? And the Great Circle, excuse me. And I only wanted to say this because, again, I feel like of the three of us, this is probably more of a Drew game. It's a story-based first-person game that's probably going to be very
This is going to
puzzle-based.
sound weird, but it almost to me is like a PlayStation game. It looks like a PlayStation game on Xbox, and so I'm kind of. It's weird to say I'm not super interested, but that is what it reminds me of.
Here's the thing with what they showed. The trailer they showed at the developer direct a few months ago when the game was really unveiled for the first time, I thought looked amazing. And this looked great too, but we really just got a story trailer. And it almost made me scared because we saw so little gameplay, or like we didn't see a true gameplay demo here. I was like,
Yeah.
man, this game almost seems like it's going to be more story than game. I don't think that that's really the case. I think that's just what they chose to show here. And Machine Gun Games, who made Wolfenstein 2, and they have a really good track record of making great first-person games. So I'm sure it's going to be good, but this trailer made me feel like, Oh, am I going to be watching a lot of cutscenes and in turn looking at my phone and getting distracted and things when there's downtime? Or is this game going to have enough action to really be fun? And I think that's the thing.
What you mean is, do you have time to rip a bowl? And hopefully the answer is yes.
I'm just saying, I just got off of Senua Saga Hellblade 2, which, Gary, you were out that week, I think, but Jahan and I...
No, you were talking about it last week about how it was an experience, but not much of a game.
Yes. Okay, so it was last week. Yeah, exactly. It's like, man, was it pretty to look at, and it had some cool moments, but, like, it's more of an experience than a game, like you said. So I don't think that Indiana Jones is going to be that by any means, but like it definitely seems like there's probably going to be some pretty long cinematic cutscenes here. And I just wish we could have gotten a little bit more gameplay or a gameplay walkthrough, because this lengthy cutscene was not something to get me excited for the game. I am still happy, it still said 2024, but I thought we'd get a specific release date, and we'll just have to wait a little bit longer to get that.
So,
Just as a rule, I hate cinematic trailers. They upset me. Show me the game. At least give me a half and half. You know what I mean? Let me see the game.
half and half cost extra. Yeah. So, my thoughts on the Indiana Jones. So, like, I want to be excited for it, man, but, like, I've said it before. I think the graphics look like shit.
I disagree. I think it looks really good.
I don't think it looks good. And then, like, they do splice in some gameplay, like, brief clips. And, like, I don't know, man, like, I'm sure that they're going to work on it, but, like, from what I'm seeing, the whip looks wonky, and, like, I don't know, I have concerns. Not saying I'm not going to play it, and maybe it's the best game I ever played, but I'm not sold on this. I want to like it, but I don't.
I do think it's going to be good. I think that complaints about the graphics and things are going to be ill-founded.
It might look really good. Yeah, when it releases.
I'm looking at the screenshots right now, John, and I have no idea what you don't see in the graphics.
Maybe
the people are a little cartoony, but look at the environments.
The environments
do
look pretty
wildly asymmetric and wildly detailed, and the lighting is crazy dynamic.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The people, when they talk, make me want to throw up, is all I'm saying. But maybe the rest of it looks fine. Yeah, that's fair.
People kind of look like little clay toys, but the environments look absolutely phenomenal.
Well, it's also difficult when you have literally Harrison Ford's young face and a voice coming out of it that's not Harrison Ford's voice. Troy Baker does a pretty good impression, but like I can tell it's Troy Baker. You know,
the screenshots are in motion, so like the people looking cartoony, sure, but these are in motion stop graphics. If it looks this good in motion, it's crazy good, man.
Maybe I'm wrong, but to me it doesn't look great, and the limited gameplay we've seen doesn't look good.
I think when it comes out, you're gonna have pee on your pants because you're gonna have little pee pants.
Okay. That's fine.
I also think Assassin's Creed Shadows looks really good. The Japanese setting for Assassin's Creed looks good. We saw more Stalker 2. That's a studio based in Ukraine.
Did you finish Valhalla?
I didn't finish Valhalla, but I finished Mirage, the most recent one.
Just like, man, I feel like Assassin's Creed games at this point are just like a testament of your willingness to continue to grind your fucking face against your controller.
That is why Mirage was a breath of fresh air, because they significantly shortened the game and made the world smaller, and it was a welcome experience. I thought Valhalla was good, but to your point, it was so big, it took forever to do anything, and especially if you wanted to try to 100% that game, like you better have 200 to 300 hours on your hands, because that world is so big. But Mirage, I think I did everything. I 100%ed that game. So, and
you think this Japanese version will be more like Mirage, more of a tame kind of environment, or do you think we're looking at something that's expansive, the size of a whole country again?
I'm nervous it's going to be the latter.
Actual size Japan.
Big, very big.
Yeah. I mean, I would play it, but again, this seems like something that I will play and uninstall because it's too big and too much of a grind. But I'm not excited for it. I feel like Japanese Assassin's Creed should have happened like 12 years ago, but at least it's happening.
And then,
like realistically, how do we do France first and then London? Like, how do we skip? Like, really, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Lastly, on the hardware front, we did not get a reveal of the much rumored Xbox handheld, although there was IGN interviewed Phil Spencer.
Oh no, it popped. It's okay. They'll be back. I'll talk. I liked everything. Haha. Indiana Jones sucks though.
IGN did an
Okay, we're
interview. IGN did an interview with Phil Spencer after the show, that like where he all but confirmed that the handheld was real. It just wasn't time yet, but they did show some new hardware, which is basically an all digital Xbox Series X that's white and has a 1 terabyte hard drive. They also showed a new Series X that's like this Galaxy Black. It looks like the Galaxy with stars on it that was 2 terabytes. And then an Xbox Series S all digital that had a terabyte hard drive in this white color. So just some new consoles. The all digital Series X is cool, I guess, for somebody that doesn't have one yet and wants to go all digital. It's not like I'm going to replace my Series X with one that doesn't have a disk drive at this point.
Correct.
So,
I'm with you there. I do think it's weird that they even have a Series S all digital as an option. Like that, to me, seems like something people are going to be pissed off about in like 6 or 8 years when things suddenly stop working for the S.
am I mistaken when I was thinking the Xbox Series S was already all digital, or is that not true?
I don't know. Jahan's got one, right?
Yeah, again, it's all digital. I don't have a disk drive. I don't know. It works for me. I have a PC, so I didn't need a full Series X in my opinion. And it was literally half the price. And I got it.
Yours definitely worked out in your situation.
Yeah,
I do not have a good PC, so I needed an X in my opinion.
Here's what it is. I was wondering then what was new about the one that they showed.
It's a
and
terabyte hard drive.
Yep, the Series S originally was a half a terabyte, 500 gigs in white, and then they released a 1 terabyte black Xbox Series S, and now we have a 1 terabyte white Series S. So that's the difference. Which woohoo!
Yeah, they didn't do anything.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's all the things from the show that we wanted to touch on. Anything else that y'all want to mention before? I guess we can kind of grade the show if you'd like to.
Yeah.
No, I did just want to go ahead and say that Jahan will have pee on his pants because he does and will have pee-pee pants. I just did want to make that.
I do appreciate
Make that really. Yeah, I'm gonna make that clear.
I do actually get pee on my pants sometimes for reasons. It does happen. I'm not
So the
good
show,
at
though.
using the bathroom.
Can
So
we just
I'll give it an
review
A.
the show?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll give it an A.
I give it an A, dude. I think this is exactly what I feel like it was everything we've been asking for. It seems like they're listening, and it seems like they're giving us what we want. I don't know. I'm not as concerned about the future of Xbox anymore. It did alleviate some of that, and I think that we're in for a really good couple years here.
Yeah, there's going to be a steady rollout, and we're finally at a place where it seems like they have something for everyone. You know, your Fable, you know, you got Fable and South of Midnight to counteract the, you know, Doom and Call of Duties of the world. Like, you know, your first-person shooters, your third-person adventure games.
Yeah.
You've got, and then with the partnerships they have with other third parties too, you're getting, you know, turn-based RPGs and just a whole lot of stuff that looks cool. I think, yeah, I think for once we have a right to be optimistic about the future. And if that doesn't warrant an A for the showcase, I don't know what does.
Won't
Yeah,
do it.
absolutely.
I refuse to be optimistic.
I don't often call out the chat while we're doing the podcast, but thank you very much, Gallant Knight Games, for the subs. 5 subs.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. Thank you,
thanks.
Alan. You're the best.
That's the homie Alan Barr. If you guys are looking for tabletop games, especially easy, quick ones to run, there's Tiny D6 systems from Gallant
Oh, 4.
Knight Games, and I love them. Tiny Supers was the one that we almost picked up. So if you guys are looking for a superhero game and you're trying to start something to your table that's easy, awesome, and go look at it. Go look at Tiny D6 Games. Go look at Tiny Supers. I recommend it.
Yeah, go to GallantKnightGames.com and check out their Kickstarter that's live now for a brand new vampire game that takes place in the 90s. Check it out. But yeah, no, so Xbox Showcase, absolute win. One game that was announced not on the Xbox Showcase, like it was announced, because there was a bunch of conferences this past week or something, a lot of games got announced.
We've had Summer Game Fest. Today wasn't even an Ubisoft conference, but it was all kind of stuff we already knew about, so I didn't think it was worth really touching on. I still think Star Wars Outlaws looks cool.
Outlaws looks pretty solid, man. Any game where you can go from planet surface to space seamlessly, that's something. That's impressive. But no, so they finally announced a game that I've been waiting for, Gary's been waiting for years. Civilization 7 has been announced, and it has a year, which I was surprised by, 2025. It's supposedly coming out next year.
I'm telling you guys, when they say 2025, I have no faith.
They mean 2026. Yeah.
You got to tell me first quarter. If you don't tell me a quarter, I'm not biting.
Hey.
I've been disappointed too many times in the gaming community for this.
I'm with you, but I can't lie, I'm super excited. This is the game that I'm going to take PTO to play. That's this game.
It always makes it hurt more when you're that excited, bro. Let's just call it 2026. Let's just be a cautiously optimistic, cautiously pessimistic.
That's like with Fable, though. Like you said, Gary. Like if we're getting Doom and Fable next year, presumably Doom will be in the spring sometime, and Fable would be in the fall, winter time. Which means that the chances of Fable getting that push to 2026 they're there, but I'm gonna try to be, cautiously optimistic and put my faith in them. The fact that they even put the 2025 date on the trailer, to me, means there has to be some level of confidence there, but I mean, who knows?
Absolutely. Well, that covers...
Sorry to take over your Civ 7?
Civ 7, yeah.
7.
Civilization 7. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. It's all good.
No, if they deny my PTO, I'll just quit and then get another job because I'm going to play Civ 7.
I want to play Civ 7 all day and possibly for a 4-day weekend because holy crap.
We all three know somebody who has quit their job in order to play a video game before, and I don't know how much it worked out.
Do we all know the same person?
Yes, we do.
Who is it?
Is it Kyle?
Yeah, it's Kyle. He quit working at FYE so that he could play Super Smash Brothers. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Well, yeah, that didn't work out great, but he's really good at Smash.
It's really
also,
good at Smash.
All the FYEs are out of business, so I'm not sure it affected him one way or the other.
Yeah, and he just had like a lot of foresight. Really, he just knew.
I used to know a guy that failed out of school and lost his job because of Star Wars Galaxies. So that's fun.
Damn, that's awesome. That must have been a good game.
Hell yeah.
That right there is why I won't play, I won't get into World of Warcraft and I won't get into Elder Scrolls Online because I'll just be that guy, dude. I'll just quit everything. And I know that about myself. I just won't let it happen.
Yeah, World of Warcraft made it really easy for me to give up on life once upon a time, so...
All right. That was our fresh news of the week. Can we move on to some fresh movies?
Hell yeah, fresh movies.
Yes,
what do you got?
I've got Hitman, and this is a new Netflix release directed by Richard Linklater and starring Glenn Powell. And first off, I'll say I really enjoyed this movie a whole lot, and I recommend it to everybody. I'd certify it fresh. It is. Have either of y'all watched this by chance?
No.
Do you know what the premise is at all?
No.
So
also no.
Glenn Powell, who I'm just really fascinated by right now because he's kind of like the up and coming movie star of the moment. If you don't know who Glenn Powell is, he's been around for a while, but just most recently he had a supporting role in Top Gun Maverick, the highest grossing movie of 2022.
He was in Anyone But You.
He was in Anyone But You, which is him and Sydney Sweeney, and they're kind of being credited with basically rejuvenating romantic comedies at the box office because romantic comedies just don't really come out in theaters anymore. And that one did really well. And he was a big part of that. Then you've got Hitman now on Netflix, and Glenn Powell is one of the stars of Twisters that's coming out next month. So he's having like a really big 2 years or so. But he stars in this.
Gary's shaking his head because of Twisters, I think.
I literally rolled my eyes. Like, I can't believe this is a thing that's happening again.
Dude, it
Misters
looks
looks so
so
good.
It looks so stupid. I'm gonna watch it,
Nostalgia
but
is- I know everyone's gonna watch it. It's gonna do bomb numbers. Nostalgia's stupid, and I hate every single one of you.
It's a-
They filmed a huge set piece of it
twisted.
right down the street from where some good friends of mine live that I visit every year. In El Reno, Oklahoma, in the most recent trailer, there's a huge scene there, and you actually see the El Reno water tower like falling into buildings and stuff. It looks amazing. Yeah, looks good. But anyway, Glenn Powell, big star of the moment. Hitman is really good. The premise is it's based on a true story. It's actually based on a story that was in Texas Monthly some time ago. And Glenn Powell plays Gary Johnson, and he's a kind of dorky psychology professor at University of New Orleans, I believe, and if that's even a school. He is a professor, and as for extra cash, he kind of moonlights working for the police, doing tech work for where they do stings on people trying to hire hitmen. So essentially, he then falls into the role of becoming a hitman, right? And meeting with folks who are trying to off somebody, and he gets them to admit what they're asking for, and then they subsequently get arrested.
hell yeah.
And he takes this job very seriously. He dresses up as a different character every time he's meeting with somebody in order to better trap them in this. And then, of course, during one of these meetings, he meets a woman who's trying to off her husband, and instead of getting her arrested, he helps her, puts her on a better path, and then eventually starts dating her, but as his hitman character. So she thinks that he is an actual hitman, and it leads to, of course, some antics. And I just thought this movie was as funny as it was entertaining, and kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat with you just keep expecting something to go wrong, and then there's always new developments. And I just thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It's way too good for Netflix as a Netflix original, but
Yeah, take that,
all the-
Netflix.
all the studios could have bid on it. This played the festivals last year, and Netflix paid $20 million for it and outbid everybody. And now here we are. It is on Netflix for everybody to stream. So I hope that lots of people are watching it, because I really enjoyed it.
It's not how you produce a movie. It's not how you
Oh,
make movies.
oh,
You
it's
didn't
how you
make
do
that.
it now.
You didn't make that. No, you didn't. All right, I'm good.
Honestly, that sounds like a solid movie, dude. I'm totally interested.
And
And
the movie sounds great.
It sounds
I
great.
just hate the way the world works.
Yep, it's very enjoyable. I recommend it. So there's that, and then the other movie I watched that I wanted to mention is Beverly Hills Cop, which I had never seen before. This is a blind spot for me.
Hold on. Shut up. You shut your mouth. You shut it, John. Have you only seen the first one, Drew? Now?
I've now only seen the first one.
Hit him with the theme, Jahan. All right, now that you've seen the first one, you've got to watch them, bro, because the one in the theme park is the best one, hands
See,
down, which I
I-
believe is part 3.
My understanding is that is by far the worst of the three.
Nope.
Seems to be the general
Nope.
consensus. Is
Nope.
that one's really
Nope.
bad.
You have been lied to. Beverly Hills Cop 3 is absolutely fantastic. Maybe 10 out of 10, one of the best action movies of all time. I'm talking up there with Terminator 2.
Terminator 2.
Putting Beverly Hills Cop 3
Now
with
that-
Terminator 2.
Terminator
Now
2.
Now that you guys are paying attention, yes, Drew, watch them all. 1, 2, and 3. Report back. I can't wait.
Honestly,
this is an exciting time of your life. I'm
Bear-
happy to be here.
Beverly Hills Cop's a solid series, yeah, for sure. It's
Is
it's
is
pretty-
there a movie?
It's too
Is
catchy.
there another movie franchise that plays its own theme song throughout the movie as much as this one does? Because it constantly was
Pirates of
playing
the
in this.
Caribbean.
But here's the thing: it's such a banger that I didn't mind it. Like
Nailed
you could
it.
have just had it underlying the whole movie.
He nailed
And I
it. Pirates of the
was cool.
Caribbean, absolutely. Dun 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 Yeah.
Oh no, this is going off the rails.
Oh man.
No, I wanted to catch up with this because if you don't know, there's a fourth Beverly Hills Cop movie coming. You guessed it, to Netflix on July 3rd. Eddie Murphy's back. It's called Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. It is the fourth movie in the franchise, and it's Netflix in July. So I was like, guess I gotta finally watch the Beverly Hills Cop movies. And the first one I thought was really solid. And on that note, I'll say.
Oh man, we're gonna have to pay somebody.
You're gonna have to pay us for putting Beverly Hills Cop back on the map.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. Where's our ad money, Beverly Hills Cop for?
All right, let's talk about some fresh TV of the week. It looks like you guys watched something new.
Jahan, you lead this one because I just talked about movies and you and I both watched this.
Yeah, so The Acolyte came out on Disney Plus. It's the new Star Wars thing. It takes place at the end of the High Republic, starring I forget his name, but the lead of Squid Games. Awesome to see him back at it, and it's got Trinity from The Matrix. So, a lot of strong things going on. It also has Daphne Keane, which I thought was interesting. It's got a lot of people that you would recognize for sure. I only watched the first episode so far. It was cool. I liked it. It had a pretty cool fight scene, but like the way it ended, I'm not so sure about. I don't know. This show's like sitting after episode 1's like a 6 out of 10 for me. It's got laser swords and it's Star Wars, and that's about it. All it's doing. The character, the main character, he seems pretty interesting.
Well,
But-
Amanda Stenberg's more of the main character in saying this. Asha. Are you referring to Lee Jung Jae's character?
Yeah, Lee Jung Jae. He's a very interesting character. The whole thing they're doing with the main character, with her, and the stuff going on that I don't want to spoil. I'm not so sure about it. It's kind of stinks of the last Star Wars movie. A diapoled in the Force or whatever crap they were saying. But I don't know, man. It's a little wonky. Not necessarily. It's not off to the strongest start. I'll have to watch the rest of it to give you a better opinion. But I will watch it because Star Wars.
I kind of couldn't disagree with you more. I actually
Excellent.
really enjoyed this, and I feel like I'm usually the one that kind of poo-poos the Star Wars stuff, and I'm all sad and depressed about it. But I thought The Acolyte was pretty solid. But here's why. Hear me out here. The scale of this is not like huge or anything. It doesn't feel like as big as something like even The Mandalorian feels maybe at this point, right? Like this felt a little bit smaller budget, a little bit smaller stakes. And that's all the stuff that I liked about it. It's Old Republic, or excuse me, it's set at the end of the High Republic era, I should say. So you've got that, you've got new characters, new planets, new story, no prior knowledge needed. That's all I've been asking for Star Wars for quite some time.
That's fair.
You've got just some new things. You've got acolytes being, taught the Force by outsiders and the Outer Rim, like kind of mysterious characters, mysterious bad guys. I know what you're referring. I'm just gonna spoil.
Oh, here's a
part of the
spoiler
reveal for episode
If you're listening.
1. So
If you're
Gary's
listening,
shaking his
vamp.
head. Do you not want me to say this, Gary?
Jahan literally just typed in the chat. We're not really doing spoilers.
Someone was saying they're muting. God, that'd be really funny.
No, then I won't.
yes,
I won't say
yes.
anything. But there's
now you can
essentially-
do spoilers. The timing of it
There's
was
been enough
terrible.
warning now, yeah.
There's just a twin twist that I kind of was questioning at first, but after watching the second episode, I'm interested to see where it goes.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm kind of into this. I'm into it, just not feeling like it's trying to be more than what it is. There's no, I know that your Clone Wars fanboys love Dave Filoni and all that he's brought to Star Wars, and that's all great. But like, I don't watch those. I don't need a bunch of fan service that means nothing to me. And this doesn't have all of that. This is just it's its own thing, and that's all I've been looking for. And it's
Dare
just
you besmirch the name of
Here we
Dave
go.
Filoni?
Here we go.
How
The-
dare you, even underhandedly, Say that under your breath as if I'm going to let you get away with that.
The final.
He is the savior of Star Wars and the only reason anything's enjoyable anymore. Dave Filoni is our Lord and Savior. He is Nerd God Dave Filoni. All hail Dave Filoni and Kevin Smith, our true leaders.
I like your picks of leaders, but also Filoni, solid up to the final season of The Mandalorian. Final season of The Mandalorian was poop.
Where are you
All
on Ahsoka
hail.
now that we're like a little bit further removed from it?
I actually really like Ahsoka now that we're further removed. I thought the space magic force stuff, witches, was really cool. I thought the Sith bad guy was cool. There was some dumb, like, side background character stuff I didn't love, but for the most part, I thought it was actually a pretty sick series.
Yeah, I did like light speed whale traveling, like stuff like that. I thought was cool. But that goes along with like, I just want cool new Star Wars stuff I haven't seen before. And I know that there's a bunch of nerds out there that read a bunch of books and they're really into the animated stuff where these like hyperspeed whales have maybe been mentioned or part of it. I'm not a giant nerd. I don't watch all that stuff. So I just thought it was cool when it was in Ahsoka and now the Acolytes got some new, just a new story that I am enjoying. So I'll be the one that's higher on the Acolyte. I say that the new episode will come out either tonight or tomorrow, and I'll probably be like, "Man, it stunk." But as of right now, I'm high on the Acolyte.
Yeah, see, my opinion is also based on just what I've seen so far, which was only the first episode, and I said 6 out of 10. That's watchable. Maybe it gets better. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know. And also, yeah, Ahsoka was solid. I liked how Ahsoka gave people what they were asking for with Clone Wars content, finally. They really did explore a lot of cool things, and that one had a lot of... I said it earlier today when I was talking about Star Wars and being lukewarm on some stuff and how Star Wars is actually kind of stupid now that I'm an adult, but lightsaber go woo-woo, and that's really all you need. And I'm a simple creature, I guess.
Very good. Oh, and Gary, did you add something to Fresh TV?
Oh, yo, it's not fresh, but it is good enough to watch again. I've been watching Cyberpunk Edge Runners again. This is, of course, what got me to re-download 2077. I think a few months back, we read that Edge Runners was going to get another season on Netflix, which is cool, and I'm excited for. When I was playing 2077, I found a side quest that's directly tied to Edge Runners, which I thought was really cool. So the timing just happened to be right. I'm back into Cyberpunk. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. It's dope. If you haven't done it, if you haven't seen it, you should check out Cyberpunk Edge Runners on Netflix. It's fun. It's violent. It's colorful. And then, of course, Cyberpunk's going to be my pick of this week. I've been playing the game again. So when we get there, that's what's going on. I'm Cyberpunked out this week.
That's fair. Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Is that all the TV? That's all the TV. Going to games.
That's all TV.
You have one I want to hear about, Drew, so go ahead and take it away.
Okay, so I've been playing actually a whole lot of Rise of the Ronin, which is a PS5 exclusive, and it's like an open world Shogun era Japanese game, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. There is a game that came out a few years ago called Ghost of Tsushima that's also a PS5 original, and
I wanted to buy a PS5 just to play Ghost of Tsushima. That game looked so good.
it is very good and has a really strong story. And I think Rise of the Ronin story is not quite as good, but still really good. But the gameplay of Rise of the Ronin is way faster paced and more arcadey, and it's so much fun. It's a pretty good open world game where the combat is so fun that it justifies all the little errands and things that you can run.
Yo, I be checking Craigslist all the time and Facebook Market to see if some girl is pissed off and getting rid of all of her boyfriend's stuff and I can pick up a PlayStation 5 for like $20. I haven't had any luck yet, but I do be checking.
Yeah, it takes place.
I thought you had a PlayStation 5.
No, I've got a PS4, and it's just doing PS4 stuff right now.
I don't want to get too much into the story of it to spoil, but like essentially you're raised in this like part of Japan where like the clan, whatever, I don't know all the proper terminology, so I'm not going to pretend to, but essentially like you're raised and you have a blade twin. You are a twin, and your twin is like you've both been trained from birth essentially in this clan, and then something happens and your twin is separated from you, and then a big part of the story is like trying to figure out what happened to them and where they are. But the cool thing is the game, I believe it makes you have a male and female twin, and then you can play as whichever one you want to, and the story will switch between. And so there's a ton of allies you may meet along the way, and you can play as some of those depending on what missions you're doing. But it's just a super fun open world game. The traversal's fun. You have a cool glider, you got horses, you can get around from place to place pretty quickly. You've got a grappling hook. There's so many different weapons, from all the different blades and spears and pole arms and all kinds of things. I am spending a lot of time in it, and I don't intend to put it down anytime soon. So just a really fun open world game that is keeping me coming back. Yeah, it's been very fun. So that's Rise of the Ronin. It is on PS5.
Hell yeah. No, that sounds cool. I mean, PlayStation 5's got solid games, man, and it's always a shame that I don't get to play them. But hey, maybe one day.
Oh, you know what, though? While we're on the topic on PS5, I'll just say this, because I'm going to plug my PlayStation Portal again. There are certain games that when I'm playing them, I'm like, I just want to play this on my big TV in my chair. Putting this on handheld would be a travesty or would be insulting to this game, right? That's kind of how I used to feel, especially when playing the Switch. Like sometimes I'd play games, I'm like, I want to play this on the big screen, and I feel like I'm not doing this game justice on the small screen. That being said, the PlayStation Portal still looks so good that I have been streaming Rise of the Ronin, especially if I'm just like, I just want to go find some collectibles, get my Bond level up in these different areas of the map. Like, it is such a great game to play handheld, like at night, and just go check a few boxes before going to bed. I have been playing this on TV and on handheld and just having a great time with it.
Hell yeah. No, it's cool, man. I'm really glad you like your purchase, and hopefully if you talk about it enough, they'll send you one for free from me. But yeah, my list of games is the opposite. Mine is Xbox Game Pass good stuff right now. All three of the games I'm going to talk about are free on Game Pass. The first one we're talking about, I really enjoyed. It's called Manor Lords. It is a survival city builder and management game. Takes place in feudal times.
Oh, I thought it was going to be about like pulling a chair out for a lady, holding a door open.
The Lords of Manors.
There it is.
There it
My
is. Bad. You spell it differently, though.
I didn't know how it was spelled, bro.
Okay.
I'm just listening to your words.
Okay. First time.
It's a podcast, dude. What do you think I'm reading?
You're reading the thing! Or whatever.
All of us are sitting here listening to you at home. What thing? What are you talking
Okay,
about, bro?
I see.
Stop trying to break the fourth wall.
You son of a bitch. Alright. So Manor Lords. Manor Lords is not a game in which you say please and thank you and pull out chairs.
That's etiquette. That's etiquette, Lords.
That's Etiquette Lords. That's a PlayStation 5 exclusive, actually. Manor Lords is free on Game Pass. It's in early access right now. It is a survival city builder game. It takes place in feudal times. It has a pretty deep system of buildings and commerce. You create traders. You have to buy horses for them. You have to manage your cattle, your horses. You have to manage all the finite resources. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of fun to everybody, but like this is an in-depth city builder that people that enjoy the genre like. So it's getting a lot of positive reviews, and I think people should check it out. If you have a Xbox Game Pass, you can check out Manor Lords right now for free, early access. Check it out, very fun. I look forward to the full release though, because it is pretty limited. They don't have a lot of the options that you can do that I really wanted to check out. But yeah, next game I played, War Tiles. This one,
War Tiles has been one that I've had my eye on for a while. Once upon a time, it was on my wish list, if it's the one I'm thinking, which it most certainly is.
yeah, I believe it probably is. This is, if you've ever played Band of Brothers, maybe not Band of Brothers. It's a similar game. It's an overland party game. You manage a party of mercenaries. You traverse overland, doing random encounters, going to towns, getting quests, hunting people down, and it's essentially you're just managing a mercenary party in a huge open world. This game has a lot of depth. Everybody has a class. They have each person has a skill tree that they can progress in. You get to equip every piece of equipment. You get to give them jobs. Like you can make one guy your blacksmith, another guy could be a thief, and it gives them abilities in the world to do various things. It's a very in-depth, turn-based mercenary.
War Tales. War Tales.
Is it War Tales?
Yes, War Tiles is very different. It's
Okay.
like a hex game with minis and stuff on a board map that looks like a table. It's like really, really Age of Sigmar-y. So yeah, yours is War Tales. I see what you're
Oh man,
okay, we're
it's
good.
funny because I know what you're talking about, and I also wanted to play that one.
Yep, that one's on my wish
Okay,
list.
War
I know where you're at now.
Tales is on Xbox Game Pass for free right now. So check it out. Turn-based strategy game. Very fun. I enjoyed what I played. It was crunchy. And sometimes that can put people off. It kind of put me off a little. It was a little too crunchy for me, but I'm going to go back and give it another go. Final game that I played, it was a game that I was really interested in, really excited for. When it was first announced, but it got bad reviews. Immortals of Avium. It is a first-person like magic caster shooter game. It's pretty fun. It felt kind of like a first-person Fable knockoff, story-wise. You run around this big fantasy city. You're like, oh, we're the orphans. No one likes us, and it's just kind of same story, different day. Nothing really that interesting going on there. The interesting part comes in the world building. What?
That was the gameplay loop of that game.
The gameplay is, I don't know, it reminds me of, like, it's almost like Doom. Like, you have spells that you can cycle through, but all of them are essentially approximations of different guns. I mean, you have like your shotgun fire spell, you have your machine gun life spell.
Every single first-person shooter's the same game with different movement.
Pretty much. I mean, you can do shields, you can kind of dodge and teleport in this one. Some of the bad guys look kind of silly. It's fine. One of the main characters is played by Gina Torres from like Firefly and various Joss Whedon products. Also Suits, I believe she's in. But yeah, I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, cool, Gina Torres. But yeah, I think this game's fine. I think you're fine to pass. But if you want a game with a bunch of action, magic, and colors, check it out. It's free on Game Pass, so it's fine. I'm not going to certify it fresh.
I might check that out. Now that I'm beating every single racing game that I touch, and they're 100%, I could probably use some more flashing colors and thumbs ups of victory. So I might actually check that out.
Yeah, I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but it is definitely playable, and it's fun, which I guess is the most important part for a game. It's playable. It's just, I wouldn't pay money for it. If you have Game Pass, there's no reason not to check it out.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Awesome. I like that review.
Thank you. And that's it for games this week. That's it for the pod. We just got our fresh picks of the week.
Let me just get mine out here. First off, we know it's going to be Cyberpunk 2077, and also I guess some Destiny content came out, and everybody's just absolutely creaming their jeans about it. So this is just honorable mention. Destiny Final Shape, people like it. I don't, not me. I
But
don't
for
play
you,
it. Don't
it's
ask me.
Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Mine is also a game. Manor Lords. Manor Lords was the most fun thing I touched this week. So that was really fun. I zoned out and played for like hours and didn't realize the time was gone. So Mark of
Is
the
that
good
the
game.
one that teaches you which fork goes on the far outside and to put your napkin in your lap or on your chest like a
That's the expansion. This one focused on soup bowls.
Nice.
My fresh pick of the week is I went ahead and went with Hitman, which I really liked, but I made a note here. So, but everything good, and by that I mean, for the first time in a long time, typically when I choose my fresh pick of the week, I'm like, it's this by a landslide. There's nothing else to compete. And this time I was like, do I want to do Hitman? Do I want to do Rise of the Ronin? Do I even want to do the Acolyte? Like, I could have done any of the three because I've just been enjoying things for once lately, and I feel like it's been a while since I've had things that I enjoy on all around. And even this coming Sunday, I think we get the premiere of House of the Dragon Season 2. I'm looking forward to that. There's things to look forward to for once. So, Inside Out 2. There's going to be some contenders for fresh picks next week too. I like stuff coming out.
Hey, all that means is that you got to tune in to our next podcast, everybody. Hey, thanks for listening. I have been the board game guru, game master extraordinaire, and manor lord, Johananon.
It's me, Casualty CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the Podcast and Fresh Out the Box. That's where me and Jahan and our friends play tabletop role-playing games. Come check us out. We got a YouTube that's Fresh Out the Box TTRPG. We're on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Johananon. Buy some Green Ronin games. Buy their tabletops. Use our discount code. Support our channel. We get money if you do it. All of that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Tell people to listen to our podcast and then find some people who are anti-authority and nonconformist and tell them not to listen to our podcast and see if that works.
I am the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen, and this has been episode 126 of Fresh Out the Podcast.
Thanks for listening. Stay fresh.